You are so strong.
What's up guys, Danielle here, neutralsupport.net. Today I'm going to show you how to make one of these. It's a customized organizer for all of your pilot bushings and bushings for your bearing presses. It saves a bunch of time so you can find your stuff, and it only costs 10 measly bucks. So we're going to look at how to do it. Let's go. So here's what you get when all of the bushings that you could possibly have with Enduro tools get combined. So they sent me a lot of these bushings and they're really high quality, nicely machined, but I don't have a way to organize them right off the bat, but I figured one out for just 10 bucks. All you need for this project is 3/4 inch dowels and a hunk of wood. So a hunk of wood can get expensive or it can be free, depending on where you look. I ended up figuring out that the store actually sells untreated stair treads, which are pretty chunky pieces of wood, and they're only $5 or $6. So that's what I ended up going with. So I've spent forever laying out the bushings in the order that I wanted. The beautiful thing about making your own organizer is you can put these wherever you want. If you look at these bushings, they're labeled on the top on these, but on the pilot bushings, they're actually labeled on the side. So to combat both of these things, what I want is when I open the drawer, I want to be able to read them easily. So my plan is to actually, instead of just having straight up and down pegs, I'm actually going to angle these pegs positively and angle these pegs negatively so that effectively the bushings will be tilted so I could read the number on these, and the tops will be tilted on these so that you can read them a little bit forward in the drawer. We'll see if that plan works out.
Well, let me have a rule and a saw and a board and I'll cut it.
So now that I have my smaller piece of wood, I need to go ahead and mark it. So it ended up being about 10 by like 13 3/4 inches. That's based on just laying out the pieces on here and deciding where to cut length. But I also took a little bit over an inch off the back just to make it a little shorter to be able to fit inside a drawer better. To make it a little easier, I'm planning to just do it evenly so that I don't have to worry about exactly where every piece goes. But I'm going to do that even spacing based on the biggest pieces, which makes the most sense. So what I've just done is I used the punch to make a small indentation at the corners, and then I'm just going to draw a grid evenly spacing them. Now that the grid's here, what I'm going to do is hit each of the points with this so that there's a guide where I'm going to have to drill. The pegs will be angled towards the front over here, towards the back over here. That arrow system that I just created will probably totally confuse me in a second. So I made this wedge guide for drilling the holes. Essentially, I just cut a block of wood, a full one, drilled a hole through it, and then cut it at an angle. So now when you set it down, once the peg is inserted into that hole, it'll be at an angle. So if we look at it, so now I can just drill through, this hole. So line it up with each hole, drill through at the right angle. So I'm going to be going positive over here and negative over here, but that way they'll all be the same, and I'll have a little guide so that I'll drill the holes right. I can't choke up anymore on this drill bit, so I'm going to make a mark on the actual bit. So this way, since I can't physically just butt this up against this wedge, I'll just know as I'm getting to the green, because I'll be able to see it. So, yeah, so I'll be able to just go down, drill the hole until I get to that, and then stop. So let's drill some holes.
And a saw and a board and I'll cut it.
Alright, so all of our holes are drilled. They're not perfect, but they're good enough. So these are going forward, these are going back. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit with sandpaper so that we can get these edges clear. And then we're going to make the pegs.
Well, we worked so hard to build a little house together. In the snow or the rain or the ice cold wind, whenever.
So these holes we're going to actually be inserting dowel pegs into. Now the biggest combination, or the tallest combination that we have, is this one. So I'm going to go ahead. This long. So I'm going to mark it. I'm going to cut all of them the same length, just save time again, because this is the biggest or the tallest combination. So all the dowel pins can be this long, and they should all fit in, and they should let everything fit. I'm actually going to hand cut these because they're so small. I'm kind of worried that any power tools would rip them to shreds. So I'm going to hand cut all of the dowels to this length. Alright, so we made the pegs. So they come out, when you hand cut them, they come out looking like this. So they're kind of ratty on the ends. So we take the sander to make sure that we have a nice bevel. That'll be nice on the top to put the bushings on, but also on the bottom for when we're putting them in. So we're just going to put them in the holes, or get them started in all the holes first.
No matter what the weather, we're together.
I'm going to give them a little light tap to get them seated. So, as you can see, if you hit it too hard at the wrong angle, you're going to break one of these. So I made extra for this purpose, so I'll just fish this one out. So don't hit with your hammer too hard. Alright, so now we have all the pegs. They're all seated as far in as they'll go. They're not perfectly even, but they're pretty close. So what I'm going to do is actually test it out, put the bushings on it, and see what it looks like. So check it out. Here's the organizer. I'm pretty proud of it. It's not a lot of work. It's not perfect, but now from this forward angle, I can see the tops of all of my regular bushings and read the numbers. I can see the sides of all the pilot bushings. That was my goal. If I was going to hang this on the wall, I would just make these pegs perpendicular. That way the bushings don't slide off. Right now, if you hung it on the wall, they'd be heading to the floor. But other than that, if you're planning to stick it in a drawer or on a shelf, building something like this is cool. If you disagree with how I organized them here, too bad. This one's for me. Go make your own.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, go ahead and comment below if you have any questions, or if you have anything to add, any other cool organizational tips for these guys, because bushings are kind of tough. If you don't already have something to put them in, you really do need to be able to see exactly which one you're picking up. It'll save you so much time. Subscribe to the channel for other neat stuff. Go to the website. There's cool content on there as well. Hope you guys have a good day.